So I'm gonna kickstart with Dr. Karim. So I just touched very briefly about the concept of food security and how it evolves throughout the decades. How do you define nutrition security within the broader context of food security and sustainability, especially considering the frequent overlap and confusion among all of these concepts together? And how can we better distinguish between these themes to create a cohesive strategy?
Good morning. So actually the concept of food security is quite broad, and it focuses on the availability of enough and safe food to all individuals. Now when we talk about nutrition security, it does address the concept of quality of food. So it's not enough to provide the necessary quantity of food, but this food should cover the nutritional needs of all the populations around the globe. So this concept of quality is definitely extremely important because it will ensure the health of the populations. And without achieving nutrition security, it's extremely difficult to achieve completely food security. When we put on the top of this the concept of sustainability, then we add the environmental point of view. So it's not enough to produce enough, it's not enough to produce high quality food, but this should be made in a sustainable manner, in a way that it does respect the environment, so in an ecologically friendly manner. So, of course, these different concepts, they are tightly connected, so it's extremely difficult to talk about one without mentioning the two others. And that's why if we want to achieve food security, nutrition security, sustainability, then we need to align the different priorities to be able to conduct cohesive actions, to develop cohesive strategies.
Absolutely. So it's integral to align all of these concepts together. Fatima, when we talk about nutrition security, it's important to address what is the current state of nutrition. And so can you shed the light on how nutritious are we in the UAE?
Okay. Hello everyone. Thank you for having me. And thank you, Mira, for organizing such a beautiful discussion and talks with the great people here. So when talking about nutrition status, we really need to talk about the health status of the UAE population. So I would just quickly reflect on some statistics that will give us an idea. So to start with, UAE have high obesity rates. So adult obesity is really extreme. So here I would share some statistics. 68% of the adults are overweight in the UAE, among which 28% are obese. And moving on to the cardiovascular disease, we have 52% of adults who are at risk of cardiovascular disease, and many of them having multiple factors. As for the children, 17% of the children have obesity in UAE. And if we talk about women's health, then 24% of women have anemia in UAE. And we should not also forget the dietary patterns. So talking about that, 67% of adults in UAE consume high amount of salt, which is way above the recommended level as per the WHO. And another important thing is the consumption of fruits and vegetables. Well, 17% of the UAE population consume the recommended amount of fruits and vegetables. So talking about these all the statistics, it clearly shows that we have urgency in tackling some of these issues before it gets higher and higher, and which creates other diseases. Other issues and lifestyle related issues.
With these alarming rates, I mean, less than fifths of the population consume fruits and vegetables and all what you've discussed, how are you tackling the broader health agenda of the UAE population?
Ministry of Health and Prevention plays an important role in tackling such issues, and to have that comprehensive approach, the ministry has developed the National Strategy or National Nutrition Strategy 2231, and which complements also the food security strategy. And we have a lot of, let's say, a lot of elements shared and covered. And as you said, Mira, the National Food Security Strategy covers an important element of nutrition, since it cannot be separated. When we talk about food safety, when we talk about food security, we must talk about the nutrition aspects of the population. So we are tackling that nutrition aspect in detail and covering different aspects. I'll just give you examples. For example, we are working on projects with the food manufacturers, for example, the reformulation, the fortification program. Then we are also working on the national programs such as the childhood obesity program and child monitoring, surveillance, and so on.
Yeah, and we're gonna delve more into the specifics of these initiatives. I want to go back now to the research part, the importance of research to drive the right innovation, the right policies, the right behavioral change. So the Eat Lancet, and anyone who attended the first session, day one, they would have been exposed to what is planetary diet by the Eat themselves, the Eat Foundation. So the Eat Lancet were the first to issue criteria for what is planetary diet, a diet good for our health and environment. And the Mediterranean diet, which a lot of us we follow, are often cited as models of nutritious and sustainable diet. What research is being conducted in the UAE to define a healthy, sustainable diet based on our local social norm, dietary behavior, but also based on what can be grown here and based on the environmental challenges here? And are there plans to measure the impact of our diet, the environmental impact of climate change, of what we eat?
So actually, currently the research related to dietary habits and sustainability, so the two connected, remains quite limited. So there are a couple of studies. I would rather say preliminary studies, because most of them, they were either aiming to develop validated tools which are tailored to the UAE to address this new concept, this relatively new concept of sustainable diet. So I would not say that we have right now available results which can allow us to conclude about the adherence of the UAE population to any of these two models for sustainable diets. So, however, as I said, there are several teams in the country working on that, so it's emerging. So I would say that the first result will probably come in the coming next year. I guess very interesting results may be released. As an example, last year, within the ASPAR Research Institute for Food Security in the Drylands, we have launched the Ta'am Mustadam study, which is a large-scale study aiming to collect information regarding the dietary behaviors of the UAE population, aiming at determining what is the level of knowledge, the attitude towards diet sustainability, and also to better understand the motivations behind their food choices. What are the determinants of the food choices? And these outcomes will definitely be very useful to provide guidance in terms of innovation, to provide guidance to the policymakers, to the food sectors as well. But here, one important component that we need to fully achieve the goals, which is, of course, to determine and to shape the future sustainable diets, and I will put an S because there's no unique sustainable diet so tailored to the UAE. So to have some simulations, we need to have access to the environmental data. So what is the environmental impact of the food which is consumed in the country? So far there's no available data. Different academic teams, different organizations, they work towards establishing these data, which are obtained through what we call the life cycle assessment. So once all these data will be available, then at that time we will be able to determine what is the level of adherence to sustainability, and then to predict and to do some simulations to determine how the sustainable diets would look like in the country.
That's a very important point, life cycle assessment. And I think this is, again, to your point, it's a big gap, but it will be the only evidence to show how environmentally friendly is our diet and where to take it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So from research, I want to jump into the initiative and back to you, Fatima. Obviously, to improve the food environment, we need, other than health awareness and health promotion, we need the right policy mix to improve the food environment in the sense of improving availability, accessibility of healthy food and affordability, while also working with the key stakeholders to ensure meeting your goals and eventually population's health. So you touch upon the National Food Security Strategy and the different pillars that you are driving in the UAE. And one of them you mentioned is the food reformulation to improve existing food products. So how are you working with the food manufacturer, the private sector as a whole to ensure the reformulation and enhancement of the nutritious or the food choices in the market today?
Following the direction of our leaders in UAE, who always tries to build great partnerships among different, let's say, pillars of the society and among different groups. So having a private and government partnership is a strong and important thing to focus on. So based on that, we are working, currently we are working on the reformulation program in a comprehensive approach. So we started on actually studying the current situation because we are very much aware many food manufacturing companies are working on their formulation program in different food elements and focusing on different aspects. So keeping that in mind, we would like to understand better their requirements, their needs, even understand our population needs and requirements. And therefore, we are working with the different government sectors to, issue policies that support population health, and at the same time, it considers the requirements of the industry and to allow, because all that is a complex issue, to introduce new food standards and so on. So we are aware that it's a complex issue. It takes time. That's why we are pushing for the gradual change and decrease, and to allow enough time for companies to test that area, to study that area, have some research, then even introduce these elements to the population. And meanwhile, we are also aware that the population also needs to be aware and needs to be educated about the alternatives and healthier alternatives in the market, and to minimize any let's say negative impact on that. So we are working hand in hand with the industry to to deliver successful project in that.
Yeah, and I believe this is the only way to do it, the gradual way, and take the consumer on a journey for taste adaptation until that's what they're used to. Along with the food reformulation and food availability, school canteen also plays a tremendous role in shaping the dietary behavior of students early on, and also to ensure that we're providing to students sustainable and nutritious food both, and they're exposed to these behaviors, and also the importance of working with all of the different entities, to ensuring that the food is sourced from local suppliers to support the food security strategy. So what are the current initiatives that the Ministry of Education is driving in the UAE to make sure that school canteens are relatively healthy but also sustainable, and they're also in alignment with the food security agenda? So May, maybe you can shed the light on that.
Thank you, Mira, and good morning, everyone. First, I'd like to highlight that nutrition is an essential component of the education equation. And to provide successful school meal programs that are both nutritious and sustainable, it's not just about feeding children. It's much more. It's about shaping our future communities and generations. And hence we adopt several steps in the Ministry of Education to make this vision a reality. One of which is multi-sectorial approach. No entity can operate in a vacuum. We all collaborate with the Ministry of Health and several entities to achieve this objective, which is our students' wellness. We also have policies such as procurement policies. We prioritize local brands and local sourcing. By having such criteria, we incentivize positive behavior. This sets the stage for the whole food supply chain to create positive change. As well as, I'd love to mention that we focus in incorporating education in our initiatives and hands-on experience. Education and knowledge is power, and by teaching children the why behind the meals they have, we empower them to make healthier choices. And when they can easily connect what they're learning to their day-to-day choices and experience. Now, I'd like to move on the initiatives we are doing. We have a lot of initiatives that cater to health and nutrition in schools. One of our recent initiatives is known as the Smart Canteen. This initiative is high-tech and data-driven. We have an app that tracks students' choices, meal choices, and intake, and compares them with their nutritional needs. This data is wealth, and we can use this data to identify trends and gaps. This data then help us reformulate needed initiative that we might not have noticed previously. Also, parents have access to their children's accounts. They can monitor what they are their food intake in schools. This also bridges the gap and aligns the environment of home and school to achieve similar objective.
That's amazing. And just to touch upon this, how are you taking this learning so far? I mean, for how long has this initiative been implemented?
It was implemented, it was launched in July this year, so we are still in the pilot stage, but it's very promising, obviously, and we are really hopeful in scaling this initiative nationwide so all schools and children can benefit from it.
Absolutely.
So another very interesting initiative that I strongly believe in is called Farm to Table. This initiative involves the students in the whole food processing journey from farm to table. It has two components, the educational and awareness components. Here we are increasing the knowledge of children and their awareness about healthy eating and lifestyle. Then we have fun and engaging activities for children. For example, we take children to supermarket visits where we teach them about how to make informed choices and how to choose healthy choices when grocery shopping. We also have live cooking sessions with professional chefs. It's amazing to see how engaged students and how much they love such activities.
And I see someone from Spinnis nodding because that initiative was also launched in partnership with Spinnis as well.
Yes, absolutely. They are very an amazing partner that we work closely with. And the last initiative I'd like to highlight is our Green Schools initiative. This initiative has a lot of environmental aspects, but one of the aspects that is related to our conversation today is school farms. Yes, we have fully operational farms in some schools. Children grow and harvest their own produce, and it's amazing to see how proud they are and the sense of ownership that they get from growing and getting involved in the whole process.
That's amazing. How many of you here were aware of the farms in school? I would be interested. 2. I mean, that's impressive. There's already farms in schools.
Yes, it is very impressive.
Yeah. All right. So, any other? Yeah,
That's
this is
it.
already a lot. From here, I wanna also understand from the minute from Fatima if you're also doing any work on the policies for school canteen.
Yes, I would like to add to May's point. We are currently working on the National Food and Beverage Guidelines applied in schools, and what drives us to do that is Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed's command that we need to have a unified guideline. But because what we noticed, like last years, each emirate has their own guideline, and they are following the guidelines. And mostly when we studied the current situation, when we work with the schools, we came to know that government schools are mostly, following the guidelines. However, the private school sector, they are still need some guidance on that. They are still not following or obeying the rules fully. And they have, different cuisines in the private sectors. So to align all that, we are soon issuing the national guideline, and it will be launched probably by early next year, and that will help us in unifying the guidelines, unifying the school canteen, making sure that these schools are providing healthy options to the kids, and not only like forcing, but it's also understanding students' needs and providing things that they like. And the guidance made sure to give plenty of options from different food groups and to satisfy the needs of the students and the efforts they spend the whole day in the school. So inshallah, working with the Ministry of Education and other entities, we are going to issue the guideline very soon.
That's amazing. We look forward to see that. With that, I want to jump into the importance of some of the challenges in driving nutrition security, and I'll stay with you, Fatima. How are you collaborating with the private sector, food manufacturer, food establishment to drive meaningful change in the implementation? And what role do you think incentives play in driving industry-wide change in a sustainable manner?
We are working collaboratively, and since we have the reformulation projects and fortification and other projects that are coming in place, we are working very closely with the industry, and hence that we need to align our goals, objectives. So having a formulation program in place is not only a vision of the Ministry of the National Nutrition Strategy or the National Food Security, but it also their responsibility as manufacturers, as the food industry supplying the food in UAE and even internationally. Having said that, even the industry, they are very much aware about the consumer demands. Nowadays, the consumers are very health conscious, they are very aware. Even if you see the different segments in the society, like parents are very much conscious about providing healthy choices to their kids, and even the adults themselves, they would like to be healthier version of themselves, so they are seeking to find healthier options. And when it comes to the industry, they are playing a major role in providing these food products to the population. And so it's a win-win goal for both of the entities, the government entities and the food manufacturing industry, to work hand in hand to achieve the national goals, and even to achieve whatever the society demands and requires.
So public-private, so collaboration between all entities is key to drive a meaningful change, and I believe this platform is all about making sure that all entities are together and discussing all of these important topics to drive a change. On the importance of collaboration, Dr. Karine, so we know that agri-food research is critical to drive evidence-based policy making. So all these policies that Fatima was talking about, it's important that they're coming out from research. So how is agri-food, or how can agri-food research be better integrated into the development of evidence-based policy-making process, and what steps are needed to align research priorities from academia with the broader food security and sustainability agenda? And do you see this is happening at the moment?
Well, I will continue on what Ms. Fatima was just saying. The priority here is to align the goals, so between the different partners, so governmental entities, private sectors, academia, as you said, Mira, the research can generate data, can generate results, which can find direct implications for the private sector or for governmental entities, only if there is, before that, a proper alignment of all the different goals. So after doing that, then research activities can support the collection of information regarding the dietary behaviors. It can support also the innovation. It's a very enthusiastic hub for innovation. I don't know if you stopped by the UAU stand, but you can see that some of the projects conducted by the students. So it's a very good source of both information, and innovation. And working all together will definitely support the entire process. And additionally, being from the academic sector, one of the major roles we have is definitely related to education. So not only educating the students on campus, but also preparing the future professionals. And belonging to the College of Medicine and Health Sciences, we have a major responsibility in ensuring that the future health professionals, they graduate with this concept of sustainability embedded into their practice.
Absolutely, you couldn't have said it better. I'll talk about the collaboration and integrating all the different agendas together. Back to the point of school canteen. School canteen is not just a meal, it's way beyond that. It requires a collaboration between a lot of entities, from presidential court, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health, municipalities, universities, catering companies, and so many more, to ensure that the meal is really all about integrating the health, sustainability, and the food security, meaning supporting also local production. So how are you working with all of these different entities, given the complexities? Do you face some challenges, and what are also the opportunities that you see?
Absolutely, Mira. Thank you. In the Ministry of Education, we are constantly in collaboration and partnerships with different entities. And this is reflected in the School Meal Program, which is a program led by the Presidential Court, and where a task force was created. This task force has members from multi-sectorial disciplines, such as the education, agriculture, Ministry of Community and Development, the Ministry of Health, and even the private sector. In this task force, we constantly communicate closely and effectively, and exchange and share valuable data. Now, coming to the challenges, of course, every program and initiative will face some challenges. One of the biggest challenges I would say that we are facing is parental engagement. Studies and literature prove that parental engagement is a cornerstone in any positive behavior that we'd like to see in the children's life, especially in health. However, it's a challenge, and hence we developed a lot of programs to involve parents in our initiatives, such as community engagement programs and workshops to raise awareness among parents and closely assist them in contributing to the betterment of our initiatives. Another challenge we are facing is the ever-growing epidemic of obesity, like Fatma mentioned previously. We are bombarded with marketing for children and access to unhealthy food, caloric-dense food. This is just compounding the issue. And of course, what we have done is the educational program that we lead in the Ministry of Education help to combat and mitigate this challenge.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to touch upon the promotion of food and the marketing of food. I just want Ms. Fatima to touch upon this, because I know the Ministry of Health, they're working a lot on policies related to responsible marketing to kids. Maybe you can quickly shed the light on that.
Marketing of unhealthy food to kids, it's a big challenge, and we are facing, different, let's say, obstacles when it comes to having restrictions about the marketing of unhealthy food to kids. It's because we have different sources of marketing, and as you are aware, kids are very much now digitalized with the devices, the TVs, and other so on aspects. So Ministry of Health and Prevention working with the partners from different emirates, even like recently we met the Early Childhood Authority in Abu Dhabi, where they have shared with us their guideline about marketing unhealthy food in the digital media. And they were focusing, we had talks on developing the national guideline. And on that regard, what I can share with you is that currently we are working with the GCC country members in having the unified guideline, and we are still studying the different aspects, elements, since each country has different rules, and we have cross-country impact when it comes to the digital, to the marketing in general. So yes, we are working on that, and it is a 2-year plan. We will update you once we have the full.
That's great to know.
And just one point, because May told us about the school canteen, the national guideline for school canteen includes a section about the marketing of unhealthy products. Because what we have recently observed in schools, some of the companies do promote their unhealthy kind of products within the school trips, visits, field trips, or even sponsoring some activities. So we have shed the light on that matter in the guideline, and we have some rules there.
Thank you for sharing this.